Call to order the Budget Committee meeting of 3/25/25. We'll do roll call. Heidi Watson,
Here.
Pam Smith,
Here.
Joe Paul, here. Steve Nesbit, here. Carol Wag,
Here.
Lisa Strubing,
Here.
Chris Parent, here. All here. Minutes,
You have them, I believe.
I have them, I didn't print them out, so.
Oh, I thought that's what that was.
Those tomorrow night, I guess. Okay, so the next meetings, Thursday at 6:45, and that's because there's beginner yoga in here until 6:30. So I left a little window so that they can move out, we can move in. So Harold can't make it
I cannot.
and Pam can't make it. So we'll have two absent, but we'll still have, as long as we don't lose anyone, we'll still have five and have a quorum. Friday would be 6:00. And I think Heidi's not gonna be able to make it.
Nope.
Anyone else that I missed? And Saturday at 9 in the morning. And Chris, was it you that's not gonna make it Saturday?
Right.
Because you going skiing or something in Colorado?
Yeah.
Everyone else all set?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and hopefully by then or maybe before Saturday, we can blow through the rest of it and get our recommendations and get ready to turn it back. So tonight we'll start with building maintenance. There's salaries, straightforward, utilities, travel expenditures, actual, cleaning supplies.
Well, I just have a question about the facility maintenance, the $30,000. I have a note that says exactly what will this be used for? Do we know? Page are you on? 102. And I have another note that says building rot.
Oh.
So the $30,000, the facility maintenance repairs, I've got that $30,000 will be used for building rot. Is that all it's going to be used for?
Yeah, I have the same thing. I wrote roofing and the rot. Because they found rot, they had to increase the amount.
Right.
Because more has to be fixed. That's what.
So isn't the roofing someplace else?
I think it's, if I can, I think the town manager said that the building had not been maintained for a number of years. So this 30,000, this is not the first year for this 30,000. I think this is the second or the third year for this 30,000. So it's been just going around and finding different areas of the building to repair. I don't know that it's specific to a roof repair, but it could be for soffit repairs or other drywall areas that they see needed to be attended to.
Okay,
Um,
so there's no specific list.
There was
we know
no
where.
no specific list. I was thinking, is there an end to it? I mean, it would be nice to see something
Right.
written out for it.
Right, a plan.
But at some point in time, I would think that that would go away, or there'd be some more details towards it. But I do know that there was some previous neglect to the building.
Is that
Since they brought on a more of a facilities person, that things have been getting taken care of. Before, we never had a facilities person. You know, you had the custodial person, but that's not a facilities person. So when Parks and Recs brought on a facilities person and went under their role, that person has been going around and taking care of these jobs.
And I think this is more than just general maintenance. This would be a deeper
Yeah.
repairs in general maintenance.
Right, so I guess this is part of my problem with this budget, is that there's not enough here, there's not enough description, there's not enough, what is this going to? And I mean, $30,000 is great for building repair, but what? You know, it's,
Is that just this building or is it all the buildings?
Was my understanding it was just the town hall.
I think
Just
it
this one.
was just this building.
Okay.
I think it could be used for all buildings, but there was a lot of focus on this
This
building,
Mhm.
but it could be all buildings.
Is that something that we want to ask for more information on to see what the plan is for it? What the last 30,000 was spent on, and to maybe start that? It shouldn't be a precedent because the instructions are there, but maybe to get a list of what this one is gonna cover? It's just a question. It's not something that we have to do.
I mean, if we're going to ask the question, now would be the time to ask that question, because
It's last chance,
yeah,
pretty much last.
let's ask the question, and what was repaired last year, and what is this going towards?
I guess my other question along that line is, since we have a building maintenance person, is this largely just then materials? Or is it also to hire outside contractors?
That's a good attachment to that question.
So the 30,000 was definitely in last year's budget. I couldn't tell you if it was in the previous years.
Was in the past 2 years. I just checked.
Did they spend it last year?
Let's see.
It is the amount that's been expended already this year is $81,555.85 after
Building
the
maintenance?
the 25/7. I'm sorry, under contractual.
It's under contractual,
Yeah, that doesn't break down.
the line items.
Yeah.
That's the total for request. Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was in fiscal year 24 as well.
Was it spent in 24?
It looks like, they budgeted 102 and spent 94. Budget part.
That they spent it on contractual, but we don't know.
Yep.
Okay.
Do a request for what the 30,000 will be used for, what was it used for last year,
And I'm okay with the building maintenance. I'm just
and if it's
needing to know.
outside contractors or in-house.
I got it written down.
Go ahead.
commodities, miscellaneous hardware, light bulbs. Heating, oil and propane. The same. Okay, so we'll hold on this until we get an answer.
104 spent $47,000 when they were budgeted 1,000. Is that,
Last year?
yeah, I'm wondering, is that, never noticed it before.
Four. Four. Spent $1,800 this year. With a budget of 1,000.
Okay, so yeah, this would have been, they expended in 2024.
Yeah.
47,000.
Something happened.
2022. That's 855, and we spent 11,000. It's just something I hadn't noticed,
So they're
but they're not asking for more.
A note. Okay, I don't know what this is. In my budget, my book from last year, I think it says doors with town hall. I don't know what that means.
Is that part of the security system?
I don't think so, not last year.
What page is that?
Page 104 from last year's budget book.
Well, they did something to the doors last year. They started the process.
Did something
So
to
it
the
may have
doors
had
last year.
something
They
to do
started
with
the
that process.
Oh,
So
but that
it may
was.
have had something
I'll
to
look
do
in
with
the
that.
other book. Oh, but that was.
Well,
I'll look
they
in the
went
other
over
book.
budget last year.
Well,
They went
and
over
other
budget
commodities
last
by
year.
$17,000.
And other commodities by
over
$17,000. So
$17,000.
something happened.
Over $17,000.
You don't
So
have the
something
detail.
happened. Over $17,000.
So
Dizzy your
something
report,
happened.
too.
So that's over
Dizzy your
$17,000.
report,
So
too.
something happened. So that's over
Dizzy your
$17,000.
report,
So
too.
something happened. So that's over
Dizzy your
$17,000.
report,
So
too.
something happened. So that's over $17,000.
They budgeted in
So something happened.
24.
So
They
that's
budgeted in
$17,000.
24.
Something happened.
Right. They
So
budgeted in
$30,000.
24.
Something happened.
Right. They budgeted in
$30,000.
24. The previous year before that. The previous year before that. There was budget. The previous year before that. There was
I have,
previous year
I
before
have
that.
23 and 24.
previous
It
year
was
before.
security cameras, panic buttons, panic buttons, fire sleeping quarters, exterior sleeping quarters, kitchen doors for lockout, map doors for lockout, map rooms for lockout, map rooms for lockout, kitchen doors for lockout, map rooms 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 for lockout.
Right.
Back. So that was for, so you had a lot of, it was for the build out for public safety.
Oh.
So they had better accommodations when they stay overnight. To bring that up to code for them, and then you had some work done for the town clerks.
Interior doors.
Yep. For the panic buttons and so forth for that. Thank you, Heidi.
Okay. Public safety. Salaries. Where I could find it. We have, was a question, how many for each position? And I've got it as 4, 4, and 4.
Right.
The full-time basic firefighters were 4 now and 4 to be hired next year.
to salaries. Questions on page 110.
Nope.
1 to 111 telephone.
Can somebody remind me what ACO is? I don't know. Animal control.
Animal Travel expenditures.
What does it mean to return materials next year for sharing with the department?
So I would take that as whatever materials are handed out in those 3
Oh,
classes.
so like they come back and do some training with
Come
materials?
back and
I gotcha, that makes sense.
everyone else can see it.
Thank you.
Dues and subscriptions. Anyone have anything?
Not yet.
Okay, we'll move on to professional fees. 14. On to intercepts. 115.
No, I don't know what those are.
What's that?
Intercepts.
No.
That's if someone is being taken in the rescue to a hospital and they need to have, they don't have anyone to put in an IV. So that they can stop and someone will get on.
Okay.
Yeah, if we needed another town to help out
Mutual aid.
for mutual aid. So let's say Gorham helped out with a response, we would be helping and paying Gorham for that response because we weren't able to cover the paramedic. This fee has gone down substantially since now we are fully staffed.
And then what is it reads funny, the mutual aid subscriber reimbursement.
That is for when you get your you want me to? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I think I was going to say the same thing. So
Go ahead. I'm sorry. You.
pretty sure that's when you get your tax bill and you have the form, it's in there to sign up for a reduced rescue fee.
Never heard of that. Is that if you're rescued?
If you have to take an ambulance, there's
so-
there's a letter that comes with,
Your tax
it's
bill.
sent out every year that gives you the option to pay a certain amount right then. And then you technically void ambulance fees in the future because you've paid this up front.
Per family is like
It's actually a pretty decent deal
$50.
if you use it a lot.
Okay.
And so this is for I believe. You can, you can help me answer now. I think it's Baldwin, Sebago.
I think this is,
Baldwin and Sebago,
I think this is just Standish. This is, covers the Standish.
a mutual aid subscriber.
Yeah.
So it's probably if, let's say our ambulance was busy and I needed a ride and I
Yeah,
had to call
okay,
another
then, yeah.
town, is more than likely probably what that is. I may be wrong, but that's what it sounds like.
This hasn't got anything to do with the fee that they charge other towns.
Can we get clarification on that then?
Yep.
Thank you, Joe. I'm sure it's gonna make perfect sense, but it's not clear in my brain.
Okay, equipment maintenance. I had a note, and probably everyone does,
I have an answer.
18,000 for pump 4.
So we put a Band-Aid on engine 4 because we ran out of money. We used a good portion of the large equipment reserve to replace a motor in the rescue and the transmission in the service truck, both unexpected. That is why engine 4 is in there again, and the overall machine line is up. So we hopefully don't go over on the line item again next year. And then
So they haven't fixed engine 4 yet.
I put a Band-Aid on it.
Okay.
Good answer.
Yeah, the only comment I would have is that we still have $45,000 in the major equipment reserve.
I'm not sure. I did not read this portion of the answer because I didn't ring a bell for me right now, but it says also I thought the rest of the reserve money was earmarked for something in public works. So I don't know what that is. Is that the chipper purchase?
They may want to use some of that for the chipper purpose, but why not have used it to fix
Engine 4.
engine 4? I would think that would be more important to fix a piece of public safety equipment and then use the bond money for the chipper. That's how I would have approached it. I would think that making sure that the engine 4 pump rebuild was taken care of instead of doing a Band-Aid, but I'm not. Working on it.
So another question. The station maintenance, when I asked, they said it was for building painting and things like that. Is the station out back of here not considered part of this building? They asked for 30,000 for the building maintenance, and they're asking for 5,000 for station maintenance.
Have other stations.
Yeah, there's Steep Falls.
Steep Falls, and
Right.
then you share a station with Gore.
So we don't know what station this is going to, just could be any of them.
Could be any of them.
Still have a question on the pump rebuild.
Just in my opinion, I'd like to see the reserves go towards this pump rebuild and
Okay,
see that get taken away and taken out of this budget. But,
we can do a
But I-
recommendation for that.
but I don't know how other people feel about that.
If we have money to fix it sitting somewhere, I would rather use what we have sitting somewhere than budget extra money.
Because I do,
I think it was I feel like it was the chipper. I could be wrong.
right.
But they needed they needed the reserve money because they're bidding on the chipper now. They're saving money by bidding on this chipper or by trying to purchase this chipper. They're saving a good chunk of change. And I thought that was the reason why, was so that that reserve money could be used for that if they needed it.
Can we get clarification on that, just to be sure? I do remember hearing something about having the money right now for the chipper because it was
Yeah.
coming up at auction, but
Yeah, the chipper is 75,000. At least that's what we approved for Public Works.
is that the one that they were gonna purchase at auction though? They had a like $45,000 auction cap on it? Was that the chipper?
I believe so, yes. Yep.
All right.
What is the reserve money being held back for? Is it the chipper? Is that what you want me to ask?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Thanks, Heidi.
No problem.
Yeah, page 117, contractual.
I just have a question about the K-9. There is 0 requested, are we still using K-9? Or did it go back to county? Is that why we're, have nothing here now?
I think that's the animal control.
No. ACO, ACO K-9
ACO
supplies. Okay,
canine. So
all right, wrong one. The K-9 would be in law enforcement, sorry.
I think there was 0 we requested because a lot of his supplies or dog food
Yep,
is donated.
okay.
That's nice.
Let me just.
Training. 118. And there was a question of professional development speaker.
Professional development seminar it was a few weeks ago. It was 2 days, a Friday and a Saturday, and I heard great things about it.
They did use it? Great.
Yes.
Did
Yep.
use. Hydrant fees. Turnout gear and uniforms, page 120. And I did ask about that. I don't know if it was a written question or if I just asked, but the 76 firefighters and turnout gear, right now it's only 15 sets for this year, but the gear is fitted to each person. So it's not like you can go in and just grab a set. It's turnout gear is your set.
And there's 76 people?
Yes.
Those 76 sets?
76
Yeah, 76.
They're gonna replace 15 this year?
We
They did 8
Well,
last.
we had it in the
year,
budget
year
for 8
before.
last year.
The last couple of years, they've done 8 apiece.
One, 2 fuels and lubricants. 121.
Sorry. I won't go to sleep, don't worry.
Page 122. The commodities. Medical supplies, page 123.
Just a comment, I find it amusing that towns have to pay for Narcan, but I can get it for the homeless outreach for nothing,
Really?
really.
Why don't you get some and bring it in?
I probably should do that. I'm sure I can. I'll make a note.
Okay. We'll go on to page 124. New equipment.
There was a question asked, what other towns have the locks? It's about every town in the area is using these devices. I'll read the whole answer. I guess whoever the chief was 20 years ago was a bad employee for not buying them then, but like the door locks, technology changes, and that's why we're getting these and being proactive. Carol, I did make a small presentation on whatever the last meeting was, and I left a handout for you on your desk of some of the information gathered, because I did do some research on the Knox boxes and got some pictures of a local fire department that uses them, got information from St. Joseph's, like just information that about them. And I had presented, I will be like, I would love to talk about it with everybody, but I was thinking I would like to make a motion to, when I get to there, to buy all of them, not just 5. So that we're not in this just trying phase, but happy to talk about it with everybody. And I value all of your thoughts and opinions. Okay, thank you.
And if you want to do that, we can have discussion before.
Okay. Discussion before.
It's a great idea, and I thank Heidi for doing the research on it. It's a safety measure for the town to invest in now.
As I look at, I know we already passed this page, but I was comparing the prices of the turnout gear 2 years ago. They were $1,350 less. So like nothing is going down in price, everything's going up. So right now, these are $1,200 a unit. Next year, they could be $1,500 a unit.
What happens?
So you're making a motion.
I will, I'm making, I wanted to talk about, I did want to give a little bit of information. We did ask another question, and that was if the maintenance person could install that. Let me just check really quickly. Our mechanic should be able to mount them once they do the first one, meaning like an installer to do the first one. So there was a proposal to budget $600 per item. But if we just do that like one at the $600, and then we need all the software installed for programming, not sure on the cost of that because it's dependent on the number of units and if they are ready to be activated as they should be at once. But we do already have these. So what they lock all their medications up in the ambulances is this. It is a Knox box. It's just a different version of it. It's a more expensive one. Inside the ambulance, it's like a coated cabinet almost, like I have a picture of it. But
Is there a lockout? Is there a fail limit on these? If you put the wrong code in, how many times will it let you put the wrong code in? And then what happens? Does something have to be reset?
I don't know the answer to that, but I can ask it.
So 19 at 1,800.
They're,
That's what I had was 34,200.
so the price on them is,
1,800 a pop.
that was with the install, the $600. They are $1,208 a unit. That is the official price on them.
Okay.
So 19 of those would be 22,952, and then we would need to add some money for install.
Okay, what would it be? 22,000.
$952.
Spa would be 600, but if we could only do it for the one, and then have them do the rest after watching the one, the total price down.
And that won't void the warranty if the mechanic does it.
I don't know. That's a good
Yeah.
question.
Mm-hmm.
When I called these people myself and spoke to them, they suggested maybe your maintenance person. He asked if we had a volunteer fire department, and he said somebody on the volunteer fire department could probably install them, and that was right from the salesperson himself. So I don't think I would imagine he wouldn't recommend that if it would void a warranty.
So we were gonna reduce this by 20,000 because the hose and the nozzles are in the capital.
So I think I'll make my motion. I think if we made a motion to increase the Knox box key locks to 19, for $25,000, that would give them, about $2,000, a little over $2,000 to do the install, and unless somebody recommends that we do more, but that's my motion.
I'd second that.
Any comments?
And obviously, this is just a suggestion. It's not,
Yep.
the council has to approve it.
No, it's a good suggestion. So that's a significant price, and I think when the chief was initially talking about it, they had doing this full project, and they had it in the capital plan. And I think if you were looking at it as a full price, that's a better place for it. Because when you look at this, these boxes will last a long time, and you want to have that price of that project spread out so that people that live in this town for that length of time to pay for it. So that's where I think it should go to.
Mhm.
So I think if it's going to go this way, starting out at the 9, and they're worthwhile as the start, and then add them in the following year. The other concern that I have right now that we really haven't gotten to yet or was brought up is at the donations meeting, they finally got numbers for the school budget and for county. The school budget number came up at over 14 million, so that was over an $800,000 increase from last year. That will put 80 cents to our mill rate. So we are looking at over 60 cents increase if we add it to the numbers we have here. We added 98,000 to donations, so that's another 10 cents to the mill rate. You had a slightly decrease for county, so that'll drop the mill rate a little bit. We had some discussions during the revenue at the joint meeting. We may be taking 10,000 out because of the clean energy funds, as Lisa brought up. That would add 10 cents again to the mill rate. We are looking at possibly another 70, 80, 90 cents. I don't know where that's at. We've just had 2 significant years of increases in property taxes to the people. Now, I understand we've had a long time where the town stayed stagnant and didn't grow, and we've been having years where we have to add people, we have to grow, and I'm all for that. And we've been doing that. And you can see that looking at the ratio of the mill rate to school and so forth, how it's been changing over the years. I've got my graphs and all of that I won't bore you guys with. I do that at home for fun. But I'm looking at that and then adding this plus some of the other job things that we've added. We're going to add to that and we'll be at that dollar range. And if you think of what that means to people's property taxes, we always go to a $200,000 home. What does that mean? It's $200,000 home relative. It should be $300,000. It's $300 at least to person's property tax. That concerns me when I see this. Is this going to quicken the response and so forth? No, it won't. It will make them more accountable for their keys, but they still have the boxes that work in those units right now. And let's say you keep the 9 or put the 9 in and then budget for next year for the rest, I think is a better way to go. Because once we go through this, that's why I was hoping for certain new numbers so that we could discuss that. I will probably asking, can we go back through and look for places maybe we can reconsider some of the decisions we made if the true increase of the mill rate is around 80, 90 cents to pull that down a little bit, because I think we owe that to the residents. But we still need to add these functions. I'm certainly not going to take away the positions for public safety. I think those are needed, right? But do we need to add all of these Knox box people at this point? What they have in the trucks are still functional. So that's my position.
Thank you, Steve.
I pretty much agree with Steve that by adding all 19 at 23,000 is a big jump. So if we can go less than that, I think I would agree and vote yes for that.
I still have questions on those Knox boxes, so for right now, I'm a no. I would like to know what happens if there's a fail limit. Does that completely shut that box down and they have to wait for another vehicle? $20,000 for a lost key, who's responsible for that replacement cost? And then,
And I don't think they'd wait for another vehicle. They'll break down the door.
so,
It's, you know, even if the current knockbox on their thing that broke down, they couldn't get in. They need to get in.
Well,
They're going to break down the door. They're going to get in there. They're going to do what they can.
everyone,
It's what I would think.
unless there's only one responder,
Right.
be
You know.
more people that would have a.
Right.
so then, I mean, if there's a fail limit, is there a charge to reset that particular box? I don't have enough information yet to say
From
yes,
what
so.
I could see, they would have to reprogram it.
Who's they? Us or the yeah, exactly, at a
Us.
fee.
No, us.
We would?
It looks like the program is free. They'd have to have the truck come back to where it can get reprogrammed. So, but I don't know all the ins and outs. I would hope that before we purchased it, that would be fully vetted. But I do appreciate all the effort that Heidi went through to get
Oh,
the
for sure.
information.
Yep.
I wish the town went through that. Thank you.
Thank you for your input. There is a motion and a second right now.
Anyone have Any more comments? No. Now we'll vote on the motion. All in favor?
Can you remind me what the motion is? What was the motion?
At 19.
19 to $25,000. So a yes vote is for that, a no vote is no.
All in favor of adding 19 for 25, was it?
Mm-hmm.
Opposed? 5 to 2, and it, what,
Fails.
it fails. 2 to 5 or 5 to 2?
2. Thanks for hearing me out. Thanks for listening to me.
Thanks for doing the research.
I would say that I would have asked to have them completely taken out if it wasn't for your research, Heidi. So
Anything
not
else?
So
we
I,
haven't passed the budget yet.
yeah, I know. If we are with this, okay, if we're only buying, you had mentioned 9, Steve, but in the book is 5.
Yes, I meant 5. That's
So they, in this, the $1,800 per unit was $600 of that was for installation, and that could be an area that we could cut if our maintenance guy could install them.
that to me. If the town found the savings and installed more because of that, I mean, we're approving the $9,000.
Okay,
That's how I would see it.
okay, thank you.
You could look at a capital, yeah. You know, they may put it, you could put it in capital outlay, right? I think I mentioned that, you know, because of the amount, you might say this is a better to be put in capital outlay instead of in new equipment, just based on the. There's a lot of different places that it could go into. So, a lot of different thought to it.
If they use that right, they could actually get another 2 units, 2.5 units.
So,
Or if they found a little extra money, I mean, 664, they could get 3.
right, and depending on when they purchase for the year and they look at new equipment and they found that they were below budget, they can squeeze another one in.
I'm just concerned, I agree with Steve.
So,
Just because when we're looking at everybody's bank account, I guess we really need to kind of bring it in. I mean, I would love to have them, I would. However, I also like my taxes the way they are.
So did we say we're gonna ask if they can, if they're gonna move that to capital plan this year, or?
Nothing can be moved to capital this year.
no, we've
because
already
we have
done
already
that.
approved
Yeah,
it.
these,
Okay.
what's in the
Next
budget
year.
right now is in here. And then you'd have to just wait and see how the town manager brings the remaining. If they put it in capital overlay or back in here, it's up to her and the department. Like I said, it could go into, it can go right back to where it was. It can go into capital outlay. They could maybe decide to maybe add it to bonding. There's a lot of different ways, but if it's in the operating budget, it's a direct impact on the mill rate. Whereas if it's bonded, then it spreads it out. But of course, then you pay interest on it.
Okay, so going back, page 115, intercepts. I'm asking what mutual aid subscriber reimbursements really is.
Yeah, just clarify
So-
what it
Is that gonna hold us up from
is. No,
moving?
that's not gonna hold me up.
Okay. And you have any other questions, Heidi?
Nope, I'm through all the questions for that I was given with answers. I did not receive any from the last meeting that we sent forward. I didn't, unless, well, you sent an email just before the meeting. I didn't read that yet.
Okay, so I guess we can have a motion to move public safety.
Well, we stopped at new equipment. Was there anything else for medical supplies or new equipment? Oh, wait, no, you're right. I have 2 pages. Sorry.
Yep.
Move to approve public safety.
Second. All in favor? Opposed?
Was that unanimous? No,
6-1.
thank you. Second, Joe.
Yeah, and that was the boxes, correct?
That was for the Knox boxes.
Yep. Hey. Law enforcement.
Do you want me to put that in the minutes or no?
That it was for the Knox, it was only for the Knox boxes, yeah, totally up to you.
Okay, contractual, page 127.
I have a question on the cruisers. It's gonna be a thorn in my side, apologize. It's 5 years or 120,000 miles.
4 years.
Here, I have 5 years on this one. Did they change that from year to year?
When we asked at the meeting, it was.
There's a new paper for you.
Right.
They wrote it down now.
You got it.
So it's
That was the answer.
So it's 120,000 miles or 5 years, depending on condition and ability. So number 454 was purchased in 2021. It's only got 74,000 miles on it. Granted, there's a few more miles because it gets registered every 6,000 miles, I guess, something like that. But can that one wait? Because we purchased, this will be 7 cars in the last 3 years that have gone through budget. We only have 8 in stock. So do we need to purchase a replacement for 454?
Yeah, I think it's probably because it will be 5 years.
It'll be 5
I
years.
mean, yeah. 5,
But it's,
yeah, it's a 2021,
yeah, so 5 years will be 2026.
right.
That's for next year, for next year's budget.
But the 2019 Chevy Tahoe is getting replaced in 2026, and that's 2 years older. And that Ford only has 75,000 miles on it.
The car comes back to us, though. We have the opportunity to have it come back to us. So it's not
That's-
like a waste completely.
Well, that's true, but it's an extra, 50 grand plus kit fees.
Plus all the outfitting.
Yeah. So is that something that we can ask them to put off?
Well,
I-
Or,
can we ask just clarification on it first?
clarification on what?
Why is that one? It seems to be being replaced early.
Yeah, that's my
Why,
thought.
can we just, why is, because it says ability, so
Mhm.
was it in an accident?
It says
No, so
know.
ability to get another.
another one,
Okay,
how long it's gonna take.
yes.
Mhm.
I mean, that could,
It's a
should be,
condition too, so, I mean, if it wasn't a wreck, that would make sense. But if it's running perfectly fine,
because you can look right now that we replaced 3 and they still have yet to be replaced.
Mhm.
So you're almost a year out from what we already okayed, or
Mhm.
a half year out, and they take time. So, and these numbers, I think the original sheet,
Here, Steve.
does it have a date on it? The original sheet?
On each vehicle, yes.
I meant,
Replace when they replace.
no, I meant when they, like January, when they did the numbers.
No.
Okay, I thought they would said, oh, on January 1st, these are the mileage. So they don't give you a day. I was like, when did they record the mileage and so forth?
I think this is my sheet from last year. Oh, no, looking at fiscal year 2022. And number 454 only had 34,000 miles on it. So in what, 3 years? It's about, what, 12,000, 13,000 miles a year?
Yeah, certain ones have, certain officers definitely have
Yeah.
done a lot more with them than
Yeah.
others.
Was the big jump in, from 24 spent to the 25 budget, was that driven by new cruisers?
We replaced 3 last year, I believe.
So we replaced 3.
Replaced 3? Okay.
Yeah, you could see that 424, 438, and 444 should be getting replaced hopefully sometime this year. So those have replaced 2025. So those are the 3 that we slated to get replaced. And they're looking to replace this term 440 and 454. I think what Lisa's saying is, why are we replacing 454? Could that be replaced next year with 457?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
But we're not. It says replace 2026. Oh, that is this.
That's,
So sorry.
Is,
I see what you're saying.
those are the 2 that
It's
they're
because of the county's policy on the 5 years. Just,
right,
if you don't mind, just tell me exactly what you want me to type up in the question for asking clarification.
Well, it says 120 and or 5 years depending on condition. I want to know if that is whichever comes last, whichever comes first. And if it's whichever comes last, is there something wrong with the vehicle? And that's why it's being replaced.
I think if you were to put it off a year, you really wouldn't be replacing that vehicle until 2027. It would be over the 5 years. Is my feeling is what you're going to, would be the answer for the 2021. I guess the question, if I could just push this out, Lisa, is our question is it possible for Cruiser 454 to be pushed out one more year?
That's a good follow-up question, yeah.
Just, is that the question?
I would still like to know if it's 120,000 5 years, which comes last.
I got that in there.
Okay, thank you.
So if you were to do that, then you're looking at replacing 2 the next year, possibly.
I guess it looks like they also changed from Chevy Tahoe to a Ford Utility
Yes, they did. So,
because the Ford Utility was a better vehicle.
and it's a 4-wheel drive. The Tahoes were not.
And that's why they have to be rekitted.
And
Stuff isn't transferred.
we can ask that, but, and maybe I'm assuming something, but think the sheriff is gonna say that this is a negotiated contract with the town.
It is, but we've delayed it. We've asked and delayed once before. He's gone back and said, okay, we can do that. We regretted it. Because then that was at the time where we had not as many cruisers and you just replaced one cruiser every year. And then we finally had to replace 2 cruisers one year. And that was a big budget hit at that time. Now we're replacing 2 or 3 cruisers a year. So it's when you hit that 3 cruiser a year, it's the big budget hit. So
Well, it looks like if this is, we would only be replacing 1 in the next budget year. Unless we push that off, then it could be 2. Am I looking at that?
that's what it would appear to be. That's what it would appear to be.
That was all I had on that page.
Anyone else have anything?
Here.
And get a motion to either
I make a motion.
move this or hold it.
Oh,
Well, we're waiting for the 1 cruiser.
yep, so no.
We gotta hold it. Okay, Mr. Chair.
The Public Works. No,
General assistance.
general assistance. Mr. Tab. Hey, actual page 31. Questions? Motion?
Make a motion to accept general assistance and move it forward.
All in favor? Unanimous. Now Public Works. Salaries? Telephone? Travel expenditures. Equipment maintenance, 138.
This is where they just have the new maintenance person, so your in-house maintenance is switching with your hired out maintenance, but it stays the same.
Yeah, that's what I had also. Contractual. Training. And mental. You have questions on that?
We've only used $1,200 so far this year of it. The equipment rental.
Part of that, I think, is if this is the line I'm thinking of. Nope, it's not. Wrong line.
I have a comment when you're done.
Yeah, go ahead, whatever.
It goes back to page 139, the engineering services is needed for 65,000. I don't know where year to date on contractual, there's still 30,000 left over, so I don't know where they are with regards to engineering services. I know the Public Works Director said the Woolton Hill engineering is still on hold because they're waiting to see if the funds are approved by the states. That was a pretty big project. I think they wanted to put that in capital, but we took that out because we wanted to use the reserves for that. So I don't know if there's any funds still left in contractual for that. When I go and look at the engineering funds and the reserves, there's still 56,549 in reserves. They have a target of 75,000. They're asking for 65,000. I think that's something maybe we might want to look to reduce.
Is this for specific projects, this engineering fees?
I'm sure it would be, but it's
Is it not it's not incorporated into each project as they go along?
Some projects there are, but sometimes like when they have the road projects right now for paving,
Yeah.
they'll come across something where they'll say, oh, something's going on here. We need to call in engineering service. And
Okay.
so they call in. So they do use engineering services quite frequently. But when they have certain projects like the Moulton Hill, that's a big project. I think they estimated it to be about $30,000.
Which one?
It's called Moulton Hill, Moulton Hill. I forgot what the full project was. It was discussed
by-
heavily.
by the orchard on 35.
Yes. Yes, 35 and
114, just
114.
past that.
Down in that area
Okay.
by the food bank, right?
Yes.
Standish Food Pantry. And I don't remember the details of that project. I'm getting old with my mind.
Right.
But so this was a big discussion, and we didn't fund it because there was a lot in reserves last year. But I do remember that the Public Works Director said we still have that. We still need 30,000 for that if that moves forward. But they're still requesting 65,000 for this year. It looks like they still have 30,000 in contractual. I don't know if that's what that's for though in contractual. Is it for engineering services or is it for catch basin cleaning, for alarm monitoring? You know, it's the big item there is for engineering services. I'm sorry, I'm rambling on here. I guess I'm going to be looking to make a reduction in this line item.
Before you ask the question, or just,
I'm probably just going to make the reduction. So,
So
want me to
make
go
a-
ahead? Okay,
make a recommendation.
I'll make a motion to reduce engineering services by $40,000 to $25,000.
Second it.
All in favor? Unanimous. And remind me, what did you reduce it to?
25.
25.
25.
I may reduce it further if I can.
Okay. Now we can move,
you still want the question there, Steve?
Reduced it.
All right.
Pretty sure they're listening. So,
we
always
can
respond.
ask even though
yeah,
motion's been made.
because, you know, like I said, once we go through this, I'm going to be looking at the overall rate. I may come back and say, hey, can we reconsider this and reduce it further? There's a few items I might go through and ask. Of course, you guys can always say, no, Steve, you can't. But
So we're at page 142,
thank you.
streetlights. EMP software fixtures and the new fixtures that'll be put back into Steep Falls.
Yep. Yeah, it's a new CMP contract, so that's why there's a big increase this year.
It doubled though?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What note I have is it doubled?
Yeah.
Page 143, street, traffic lights.
Wow, that one really went up.
We got a note also that doubled the 5 sites paid to CMP.
Yep. If I can just make a comment, you know, I'm not a big fan of some of these reserves that we have, but the Public Works Director made a comment that one of our lights at 25113 is very old and could go, and it'll be a big expense, and the current budget wouldn't nearly cover what it would be. I could see creating a reserve account for a big replacement for that and setting it and then capping it for a big replacement, and then keeping a small budget for minor repairs. I think that would be a good reserve account, very specific. I could see good utility to that if they ever move forward with something like that.
Explain that again, Steve.
The-
One of the traffic lights at 25-113?
Yeah, last year, the Public Works Director said the 25 and 113 light, I'm pretty sure it was that light, is aged and is going to need to get replaced at some point in time.
Okay.
And he kind of said, don't take away from the He was worried about losing the major equipment reserve because if it goes, it's going to be a big expense. I won't get into it too deep, but I'm just saying if we're worried about a street light going out and it's a big expense, there could be a specific reserve for street light just to cover that big expense. You know, what would that be? Oh, it would cost 25,000. Well, maybe we could set up a reserve that could take, if we were under budget on traffic lights, that puts that money towards that until you get to 25 and build it up over the years, and then it sits. And then once it gets used. That's a very specific reserve account that I can support.
I would get behind that.
You know, I just bring it up as a comment.
Good.
Is that something that we would need to have permission for, or is that something that we would recommend?
You could recommend it. I just bring it up as a comment. I'm sure they're listening.
Well, it makes sense, because
So-
then we're not gonna get hit, with a $25,000 expense
I don't
in
know.
one budget year.
I think you'd have to ask the Public Works Director as how do they replace the lights? Is he looking at it and saying, okay, I'm going to put it in next year's budget and just replace it? Or is it something that we ride until it fails and then it just gets replaced when it gets failed?
Okay.
I don't know the ins and outs.
Could it be in capital outlay already? Could it be? Possibly.
No, you
Okay.
would see it. It's not in capital outlay. I don't believe.
So even though they're on state roads, it's the town responsibility for lights?
For certain lights, yes.
Okay.
Because you could see it's listed there, 25 and 113 intersection. That's our light. State will put it there. And then eventually the state will say, now it's yours. So they'll hand it over.
State does a lot of that.
I think we'd have to talk more with the Public Works Director, which we can in the future.
Okay, on to page 144, tree removal. Yeah, we talked about $3 days at $2,500 a day for a bucket truck that's high enough to do whatever needs to be done. And the arborist gear is protective clothing.
That's a one-time fee.
One time. No removal. There isn't any. Fuels and lubricants. Ooh. I think it was mentioned a tire machine will be included in that. Other commodities. $50. Over. $51. At
Ask a question about culverts. Didn't we buy like a large amount of them last year to have as like in stock? We did, didn't we?
We buy them every year. Yep.
Okay.
I think they're a constant replacement until we get rid of the metal ones. So whenever they do a road and you've got the small culverts, they'll take them out and put in the new
Probably go a
plastic
little bit
ones.
bigger. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think he did mention they'll keep buying them until they get the metal ones replaced, and
Okay.
the plastic or composite should last a longer time.
Page 152. Salt, sand, and gravel.
So far this year, we've only spent 9% of the budgeted amount from last year.
You only spent 4,024. Not much of a winner.
But I remember there being a conversation about it last year where they had to fill something. I don't remember exactly what it was, but we've only spent 8,334 of a $92,000 budget for this year.
Well, he can still add to it before the end of the year. But, that's why you're also seeing a drop.
Yeah.
What's that?
I think now that the season's over, he was going to look at, okay, this is what I need to fill the building back up.
Yeah.
He said he reduced it by 1,000, so
So
he's doing 4,500 instead of 5,500.
So I think right now you're looking at the total that he's bought this year is low, but he's probably going to make that big purchase now that the winter's over.
Right.
Fill
We're gonna
back up.
fill the buildings back up. And the second line of road repair and maintenance, that goes on all year, the sides of the road. After they're paved, that gets filled in and leveled until the next rain. Liquid calcium and salt. Street signs, 154. New equipment. Flail mower, and that's will be shared with Parks and Rec. Remember?
Steve, could you answer for me this new equipment budget line item from last year? If that money is not used, does it go to the reserve or does it go back into the general fund
This
for
goes
new
in the
equipment?
general fund.
General fund.
Okay, thank you.
And there's a specific line item for like the major equipment reserve.
Okay, thank you.
That money for that line item would go into the reserve. It's like there's engineering funds. That line item would go into the reserve.
I'll make a motion to approve the public works as amended and move it forward.
Second that.
All in favor? Unanimous. Solid waste, the 157, 57, but we'll move to 159. Utilities. Telephone.
I have a question, and it's probably goofy, but do they work on the holidays? I thought, or am I thinking of the dump?
We call it the transfer
No,
station.
transfer
Oh, sorry, I'm from
It's-
Wisconsin. We call it
Yeah.
the dump. Sorry.
Well, you're at an official meeting. It's a transfer station. When you're at home, you can call it that.
Monday,
didn't yell at me.
Monday holidays, yes.
It's a Monday. so they
Monday.
have off.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Christmas, they
Yeah.
would have off.
Depends on.
Thanksgiving.
They stated right on the
Some-
website and I think right on the sign going in, what days what
Right.
holidays are actually closed.
Okay, but not
Yeah,
all
it's not-
holidays are closed then?
No.
Okay, thank
Not
you.
all,
All right.
but,
No.
you know,
I
they're
think it's like maybe 4 or 5. It's not a lot.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. definitely closed.
What are clover fees?
It's their payment system, like Square, Clover,
Cars, debit
credit
cards.
cards. 'Cause they don't take cash anymore.
Right.
Okay.
Equipment maintenance. 162. $63 contractual. Special waste disposal. 64. Well testing.
So we've only spent $1,696. I'm gonna just see what we spent altogether. If you don't mind me waiting just a minute. Oh, yeah, we spent the whole amount the year prior. That's weird.
For well testing?
We spent $7,100 the year before, but so far they just must not have used all of it yet so far this year.
Yeah.
Must just be the way whenever they submit their testing. Yep.
You want them to do the well testing in the wintertime? Wow.
I didn't suggest that.
Fuels and lubricants. Ooh, 167. Other commodities.
No, I think solid waste was getting a little out of whack, and I think the public works director has realigned it, and I think they reworked the fees, so things are back the way they should be.
Yeah, I think it runs pretty smooth down there.
It looks like a good budget for the solid waste, so I make a motion to approve solid waste.
Second.
Motion and seconded. All in favor? Unanimous. It's in rec. Page 173. Salaries? Telephone? Postage and printing. Park and facility maintenance.
I have, the only thing circled under the equipment rental I have is the compact tractor. Does that sound right? They're not renting bucket loader aerator because they're gonna use. Taken out. I have the bucket loader, the compact tractor, and the aerator taken out, and miscellaneous added.
What page
Page is that?
176. Sorry, yeah.
One of the things he mentioned, because we asked about it at the meeting, was the postal digger. They're not purchasing a postal digger, and that is what they would use that fund for.
Let's all of these out. So that's under equipment rental? Okay. So this is for a postal digger.
So that would be, the equipment rental would be for post hole?
I believe so, yeah. I know last year they rented like this little wheelie thing for the Mill Street playground because they installed Mill Street playground. And they also rented a postal digger for that as well. But that's what the Parks and Rec director said at the meeting was the miscellaneous equipment, because I think I may have asked about it, or somebody did.
So did he say that 3,000 was coming out?
No, it's staying there
Oh,
for a postal digger if they need it.
They're just not doing the bucket loader and the compact tractor and the aerator.
okay, got it. Contractual, page 177.
I have a note written, may have to contract to IRA. Does anyone else have anything about contracting for tree cutting?
For tree cutting?
Yeah, underneath it I have, may have to contract.
So
There was a lot going on, it might not be accurate note.
is this $7,500 in here different than the $7,500 we
Public
looked
Works?
at in Public Works?
Yes.
They
They
had,
are different. Okay.
It's for bucket rental.
Okay, and this is for actual tree cutting.
What's that first item on page 177, the dog park estimated donations and sponsors, and says it's offsetting? But they put in 25,000.
Right, you have to, if you receive a donation, you have to spend the donation.
So why is there any money here that we have to approve if it's not?
But it's in the revenues as an accepted donation, so you will see it in the revenue.
Okay.
It's like,
Right, so like a wash.
You have to account for it somewhere.
I don't want to, I wonder what everybody's thoughts are on reducing the tree cutting at the parks, because their employee is a licensed arborist and there is money being used to purchase equipment for that arborist. I wonder what your thoughts are on reducing that, suggesting to reduce it to the council.
So what exactly is a 7,500 for?
I think it's like big jobs is what I was understanding.
If they need a bucket truck, basically, right?
I don't know that the person that we have here could do those big trees, so that they were like, we need to hire out for those trees.
Are we talking about Mr. Grovo?
Yes.
I can tell you that he cut 3
What?
huge trees.
We
cut-
would know more than
I mean, I think you could do it.
He cut 3 huge trees at my house. I think he could do it. I have complete faith in him, and not one of these trees fell on my house. They were huge.
I mean, we could reduce it, right? And then the council could say no, or, if there's that. But even if it were, let me see what they've spent this year. I'm not going to be able to see that completely.
2585? Oh, wait, contractual?
Spent
Wow,
$4,800.
that's it.
Yep.
But we don't know if it's,
Could we reduce it down to $2,500? Take $5,000 off?
Works for me.
I would second that.
So I'm going to motion to reduce tree cutting at the parks under contractual and per Parks and Rec down to $2,500. So reduce it by $5,000.
Second that.
Lisa?
Yes.
All in favor? Unanimous. Standish Summer Spectacular. 178.
It's things like this that, again, bother me, that we don't have a lot of information. So Standish Summer Spectacular, they're asking for 8,500. Fireworks is 5,500. And I hate to sit here and nickel and dime them and cut things, because I don't know what they're spending that $8,500 for.
I can
We
tell
have
you.
an expert.
Yeah.
She knows.
I'm one of
The
the,
summer spectacular chairman.
Okay.
Yeah, got the
so
the
actually, yeah, the fireworks are actually going up $3,000 just for the basic package this
Wow.
year. So, and then I personally collect donations from businesses in town. Those businesses get their name put on the back of a T-shirt, and we give out those T-shirts. We throw them off the boat, the fireboat, in the parade, and then we throw them out at the event itself. It's no cost at all to the community.
They throw the T-shirts off the boat.
I got it,
Not
not
the,
the
don't,
people.
not the
Yeah,
people
no.
donating the money.
Got it.
Several businesses, and this year we are adding a children's market, so children will be able to come and whatever they work on at home, sell those things. So what we actually spend the money on are activities like we have a petting zoo, so that costs money. Rock wall, bounce houses. We do invite food trucks to come, and it's usually a big thing. So, and then the parade, we spend a little bit of money on the parade.
So, and I'm okay. I just
No, that's totally
I
fine.
want more information in this budget because, to be honest with you, it's horrible because we've got 7 people sitting here trying to figure out what department heads, managers, whomever were thinking when they put this thing together. And there's never enough information. We shouldn't have to send all of these questions back. I mean, we've got a ton of questions. We got a ton of emails going back and forth between Joe and us, and it's insane. It drives me crazy. Sorry.
Drives me crazy by the fine young cannibal. Drives me crazy.
I know that.
The young cannibals.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fine young cannibals.
Yes.
Drives me crazy.
And it does.
No, it's gonna keep me up all night listening to that song. Thank you,
Uh-huh.
Carol. Thank you.
Sorry, Steve.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Fuels and lubricants.
Yep,
Get up at
fuels
4:30.
and lubricants,
It's not going to keep me up.
fuels and maintenance. Same thing, maybe. Other commodities,
Did they
We-
break out the pickleball and concrete cornhole boards?
I don't remember seeing that.
Did ask for that.
We did.
I think that was a discussion because they were
It was.
Yeah.
a little concerned with the concrete cornhole boards and how
Yeah.
well they would work, and would anyone want to throw their ads on those
I
concrete
did
boards?
look into that, and they are cement, but it could be a marble top,
Yeah, you could do
Polished
it.
top on it.
something
what I would-
else that would,
Can we ask them again to break out the pickleball nets and the concrete cornhole boards, quantity and price? Please.
cornhole.
Why are we buying new pickleball? Oh, because I know why. Remember, because we bonded that with a opportunity of a grant. So I was wondering why we're buying new nets if that was in that. But I think they put the nets up on the tennis courts already.
Well, nets are probably going to Mill Street Park also.
Right. Okay.
And
Pickleball courts over there?
pretty sure that's where
Wow.
the cornhole boards will go.
I have a note that the pickleball is going to Johnson Field and the cornhole boards are going to Mill Street.
So yeah, if we can get those broken out by quantity and price, please, that would be great. And it was work boots for one person was $500
For two
Two.
staff.
2 staff. Thank you. That makes more sense.
New equipment.
This is where they added the plow truck in
Yep. Plow
for
tech.
10,000.
We did some last year. Yeah.
is that for four of them, or did the price go up and we're getting fewer? How many, if we can find out how many picnic tables that is?
How many did we do last year? We did some.
I thought we did 6 last year.
6.
I believe so. But I will ask the question.
Thank you.
It's replacing.
I had 4 for last year as well.
Oh, okay.
4 picnic tables?
Yeah, 4 picnic tables for 5,200. So I have a feeling it's probably going to be 4.
Can still ask the question.
Please.
Skip this for answers. Memorial Beach. $185. Right. Utilities. AT&T hotspot. Telephone. Flyers and brochures.
A lot for us.
Oh, postage and print. Travel expenditures. Equipment maintenance and supplies, page 190. Contractual.
Can we clarify, the online registration software fees transferred to special revenue fund? Just for my brain, can we clarify what that means?
What page are you on?
Sorry, page 191.
Under Rich Memorial Beach, I have no idea. But I
It's
did,
for employees.
It's for employees.
it's for Rich Memorial Beach employees, right?
Right.
I think so, yeah.
And
2
for,
or 3
and
shirts.
for whatever volunteers.
Oh, volunteers.
That's
Okay,
fine.
And
didn't think about that.
T-shirts are about $20 a piece.
Yeah. It makes sense if it's volunteers.
so, other commodities. And I have a note. And I think it says it was a suggestion by the council to decrease the amount by 500. Was that right?
I don't
Anyone
have
else?
that note. I know they're asking for an extra 500. I'm not-
Asking for an extra?
Yeah, it
Okay,
It's too bad.
that could be what my note
was
says.
supposed to be, yeah.
Yeah, they're doing some shack upgrades,
Right.
and they're doing something with the solar. A battery powered for solar. Adding battery powered for solar. Redoing the battery.
And a Moby mat.
Yep. The Moby mat is on the next page for new equipment.
New equipment. Kind of nice that they're doing that.
So the new equipment is where the big expense is for this year.
Yeah, and the storage shed came out of
Capital.
Mhm.
We're gonna hold this for questions.
I would like to know before I vote, just because I don't know what it means, I would like to hold for that special revenue fund question. Only because I don't know what it is. But if you guys wanna vote on it, feel free.
What does the committee want to do? We have a motion to move it or hold it.
I can go either way.
Well, then I make a motion to hold it until I can get, or until we can get clarification on that special revenue fund line. It might be nothing.
We don't need to make a motion, right? We're just gonna hold it.
Yeah.
We're just gonna, okay, good.
Is there a second?
No, we don't.
I think we're just gonna hold it.
We wanna deal with that now.
We talk about hasty.
Or we can continue so that we can get all questions. Back to donations first thing. Another day, we're doing it Thursday.
Works for me. It's a good plan.
If we could just ask one more question for the donations. It's just, I mention it, not to get into it too deep. There was a lot of talk about the donations for the Old Red Church. And the town owns the Old Red Church. And I believe there is a fund called the Hasty Fund, HASTY. And I was looking this up in our latest audit, and there appears to be over $15,000 in the Hasty Fund. I believe this Hasty Fund is a fund for the Old Red Church. If we could just verify that with town staff, if this could be used for repairs, I don't know if, you know, it only makes a few $100s in interest every year, so no one really donates to it. So if you were to take 15,000 out, then you're pretty much, there's nothing left in the fund. I don't know if that's possible, if there has to be a minimum in it or not, but could that have been used to offset some of the donation or not? Maybe that's the question that we could ask, and that might help with donations if people had that question going through.
So I wasn't here the night they did the donations. Did the council approve each one as they went?
At the end of the night,
At the end.
everybody went through their request, and then at the end of the night, they
Or
approved
did
it.
that night?
And anybody that did not show up, they held to their policy, although there was question about it in the middle of it. They held to their policy of if they did not show up, they did not get any of the money that they requested.
I'm okay with that.
So we reduced it that night by, I believe, total $12,600, I believe.
That sounds about right, yeah. From 107 down to 98.
But 98 is the highest it's ever been,
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
up almost $30,000 from the
Yeah.
previous year.
Yep. Steve, that hasty fund, where did you say that you found that?
It's in the audit.
It's in the audit.
If you look at the back of the audit. If I could have just one more second?
Sure.
There's also, in the audit, there is a reserve account called Town Hall Lights Project. I'm just curious, and there's a little over $7,000 left in that.
There's
If that could be used to offset the capital project for this town hall lights repair. I actually think this is, they call it the town hall lights project. I think it's for street lights when we were replacing them from incandescent to LED street lights. And that may be what's left over for that. So it may not be work for this. But I just want to ask the question.
Or could we put it toward the Steep Falls lights?
Or could it be put for Steve?
Yeah,
That's a very good
because
question.
we've already moved capital forward.
You know, because sometimes these small reserves, they get stuck in there and you forget about them.
Just get passed, right?
So I'm just flipping through the audit, looking for little things, and those were, you know, what spurred it on was the Red Church. I'm like, well, I know there's a fund because when I was on the council, I was the liaison one year for the Old Red Church.
You said $7,000?
Yeah, it was a little over 7,000. And I remember they keep calling it the Hasty Pudding Fund. Hasty Puddings Fund for some reason is what I call it. Isn't that a Harvard thing?
He's
Probably.
pudding?
Yes.
British
It's an award.
Yes, that they
Oh.
give some, and they dress them up like a
Exactly.
girl. Yeah. So that's why I do believe that that's what could be used for to help out the old church. Not that I want to raid that fund. I think there still needs to be money there, but it just seemed to be forgotten. And I want to bring the attention back that it exists. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, how about page 209? Will be capital outlay. Safety, 0. Yeah, general administration is major equipment reserve, 25,000. I have a number 45,000 written down.
That's what we have currently.
And I would make a motion that we reduce this to 0.
Yeah, I have a note. This wasn't used, right, for 2024 when they had, is that correct? It wasn't used for maintenance overruns, and it could have been? Page 210.
Yeah, there's 25,000 in it now,
Yeah, and
unused.
they currently have 45,000 in there, so my notes are good? Okay.
Did you make that motion? Was that a motion or a
I
suggestion?
did make that motion because they haven't used it so far this year.
Okay.
So
Oh.
they'll be adding 25,000 to the reserve,
70.
45.
which has 45, and I know that they're maybe earmarking the mower for some of that, but again, I'm looking at the overall.
I'll second that.
Chris beat you to it.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can
No, that's okay, that works.
double up on it.
As long as somebody did.
All in favor? Unanimous. Parks and Rec, 0.
I approve capital outlay as amended.
Second that.
I didn't hear you, Steve.
I approve capital outlay as amended.
Okay. Who seconded that?
I did.
Thank you, Carol.
You're welcome.
Employee benefits.
Oh,
Whoop,
Hold on.
there's a motion and a second.
All in favor? We knew that. I already wrote the vote down. Now, employee benefits. Medicare.
Did we
Focus-
get an answer to that question
That was,
somebody asked?
that was under something else, wasn't it?
No, was that, I forwarded you the question and they,
Oh, was it on that page? I was thinking it was something.
Scott responded.
Right.
I still don't quite fully understand his response.
What was the question? What was the answer?
I didn't get the answer.
Well,
Tax support specialist.
the,
What page are we on?
17,
Didn't I email?
he uses the explanation on that page is that wages are 5,692,000, and that's multiplies it by 7.65%, but that's not 7.65% is only 435,000 of that number. But in his explanation, he said it's a formula, and then they add in more for overtime. But I looked back through it, and all of the departments that have overtime have already put in overtime in their wages. So I don't see where I think the total wages number is overstated, and but looking back at the other, year to date and the prior year, the factor comes out to more like 8.65% as opposed to 7.65%. So even if you use 8.65% and you use the current projected wages, the amount would come out to 446,000. 492. So it's about 46,000 less.
That'd be a good question to get an answer to.
Are you saying you already got an answer? Did you get an answer to it?
Well, the answer we got today. Well, I can't pull it up on my phone. I don't know where.
I didn't get an answer.
For it.
You forwarded it to me, Joe.
Well, maybe that's why.
I didn't get it, Joe.
Maybe I didn't.
I had it.
Maybe I didn't do everyone trying to
That's all
avoid
right.
a meeting.
A meeting? That's okay.
I got the thing on the tech support specialist question. Not,
I got the TIF funds. Yeah, the tech support and the
that.
TIFs.
right,
It was the-
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have that, but that's okay.
Can you understand it?
Can I understand it? So it sounds like you're saying it looks like he's calculating 8.65, which is what he's saying in his email.
Yeah, but
For anomalies which may be overtime that might increase our tax liability. But you feel that the overtime has already been calculated based off of what's in here.
right.
Yeah.
Because when I totaled all the wages for all the departments, it comes out to about $540,000 less than the number he uses for total wages on page 217. When you multiply that by 8.65%, it's about a $46,000 difference.
I couldn't answer specifically on how the finance director gets to the wages.
Right.
I'm wondering if some of it could be due to how the public safety wages are done. I could never figure those out. So you may have to ask a clarifying question, because there you have salaries at the front, and then you flip it over, you have a lot more salaries on the back.
You're looking at,
per diem.
you're looking on what?
Public safety. I don't know how they just have their salary pages are different, and maybe
Yeah, but they
that's where-
total their on their first page on 107, it's totaled.
Right, but then you also have salaries on the second page with the per diem, sick time, and so forth. So did you add those as well?
Well, I went off of the number, the total number on page 107.
I would also like clarification on that equation. How does he get from the total wages to the
Yeah,
manager request?
I see where you went. Okay. Yeah, you'd have to ask. I don't know how if you went through and you calculated a different number, then
If you could give me the exact question, please.
Right.
What is the equation or the algorithm used to transform total wages into the manager request of 492,411?
To transform wages.
Yep, total wages into 4,092, 411.
You-
217.
Maybe also if Chris could write out his calculation
Exactly, yeah.
and send that and say, well, this is how I calculate out your
Oh,
total
correct.
wages.
Well, I did.
Oh, you sent it with like, here's my line item and added it up and say, this is what
I
I
did
got
the,
from the salary pages. Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
Okay.
Well, we can resend it with, ask for question that you've got now with the, as a clarification, right?
Got it.
Thank you.
Move on to workers' comp.
Not looking at the audit report was bad, but calculating salaries for each department. Ooh.
And next would be unemployment compensation. Accrued sick and vacation time. How many retirements are this year? One?
There was two.
Two?
Two?
Well, I know of at least one, but didn't you mention somebody else being retiring soon?
Me?
I thought you did at a meeting, but there's at least one.
So what happened several town managers ago, not the current town manager, it was allowed that the employees could carry over vacation and sick time. And it built up and built up and built up. So you have a lot of long-term employees with a large amount of vacation and sick time. So when they retire, you have to pay it out. Well, we didn't have it budgeted for this amount. And it's not a practice to where they were supposed to allow that to happen. So that practice was stopped. I hope it still has kept going. But we had to add significant amount of money every year. And if you look at the reserve, there's only a few $1,000s in the reserve because some long-term employees have been retiring out and just depleting the reserve, and sometimes taking all of the reserve out. So
Is this? Do we have to make a motion to ask the council to review this policy?
it's in the policy. I think we took care of it several years ago, so it shouldn't be a practice that's happening any further.
Right, I
That
don't
was
think
from a
that's,
previous couple town
Okay.
managers ago.
yeah, I don't think it's allowed anymore.
It's not allowed. So that's why you see such a big amount here right now, and hopefully that will decrease as time goes on. I don't blame the employees whatsoever.
so you're saying they can't do it anymore? There's a limitation on how much they can carry over?
Yes,
Okay.
there's a cap.
Yeah.
It was in the handbook, but it was just let go.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. But if you think about it, if someone didn't use their vacation in the first year they're employed, they make a certain salary. They're a longtime employee. They've worked here for 20 years. That 1 week that they saved in their first year, they're now going to get paid the
That's right.
salary that they were at
Yeah.
the 20th year. They're not going to get it paid at the first year, right? So it's a big change. So
Okay, let's move on to group insurance.
I just have a question. I have a note that the town pays 80% of the dependent cost and not 50%. Is that an accurate note?
I have the same one. They raised it to 80%.
They went from 50 to
Okay.
80%. So this is an increase in the benefit.
Okay. Wow.
And they mentioned that this was due to a survey looking at other towns. That they were behind.
I also have a note, they're meeting in the next couple months or so to discuss bids. So this is a tentative.
Yeah.
Retirement. Route 23, disability insurance.
Is this one tentative as well? I have this one also is going out to bid.
Probably.
Matters, does it?
So it shows an estimated 1% increase, that's all.
Okay.
Uniforms.
They have that in public works. So I don't think they have uniforms.
You're saying that, don't they have that in each department?
No, I was wondering if they didn't have that in public works.
Oh.
I think it might be the
It's just the
boots, but
boots.
not the uniforms.
Group dental and eye care.
Why are the uniforms not in public works?
Because it's a benefit.
Oh,
It's us washing them. I believe it's a service,
gotcha, that
and
makes sense.
it's an employee benefit.
Thank you.
Dental and eye care. Mhm. And so. Yes, I didn't write the question down, but I must have it.
I have them. Yep, I got the questions written down.
Yeah.
But we're gonna hold it, right?
Yeah, the question. Warrants. General liability deductible. general liability. Public official liability.
Was that one new?
Questions?
Make a motion to approve insurance board.
Second?
All in favor? Unanimous? Debt service. Payable.
What's this on 237?
That's, I believe, what it is these are the amounts outstanding on previous bonds.
That we haven't used yet?
That we haven't used yet, right?
You're asking for 237?
I was just wondering what it is, what,
Oh, 237.
what it's representing on page 237.
I thought, I went to 235 for some reason. I get stuck.
Tax bond anticipation note.
Right. So you have. You want me to?
Yeah, go ahead and explain it.
Okay. So a TAN is a tax anticipation note. So, we collect property taxes twice a year in May and November. Generally, like right now, cash on hand is starting to get low. So the council will authorize the finance director to take out a tax anticipation note to borrow money.
Prior to property taxes getting paid.
Right.
Okay.
So a short-term loan. And recently they've been doing a bond anticipation note while they wait for the bond money to come in. If they have, we see this, we can start to purchase something. It's available. They'll take out a short-term bond anticipation note to secure something that they wanted to buy, to purchase.
And they do that through the same facility they get the bonds through?
Yeah, like a bond bank and so forth through the state. So, and the finance director does not necessarily always pull the full amount of money out. He can do it in increments. So he'll look and say, okay, I'll just take this portion out, and he gauges how much is needed. So especially with the TAN, he'll look and say, oh, I only need half of it. So I'll only do half, and he can take out what he needs as he goes along. And then as taxes roll in, he can repay that back as quickly as possible. So he keeps a close eye on it.
All set?
So the on page 235 and 236, the The amounts that are requested, that's just for a single payment, the principal amount is what was originally borrowed, or that's what's left?
So, where are you looking?
Page 235 and 236. The amount that they request, is that to pay on the original principal amount, or is that principal amount what is left to be paid off?
I think that's what's due this year.
That's what's due this year. And
Right.
what you're saying for like the FY15,
Yeah,
that's gonna be the end of that. Its maturity is 11/1/25, so that'll be the,
thank you.
and then the FY16 is also maturing 11/1/2025. So those two, the top two will be paid off and removed in next year's budget. So there were two bonds taken out, FY15, FY16, that will mature this coming year.
Okay, so then the principal amount is what was originally?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So you're seeing the principal plus the interest of that bond
Yep.
being paid for.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Motion to move this forward.
All in favor? Unanimous? Transfers out.
Make a motion to move it forward.
Second.
In favor? Unanimous? Rec special revenue. Salaries.
This section is all self-funded, essentially.
Think it is.
It's not,
Like,
yeah, it's fee-based, so it's not used tax-based. So it's not property taxed. So if there is for summer rec, whatever the fees garnered, pay for the program.
So none of this section impacts the
Mill rate, no.
Okay.
So there's really not much we can make changes to it.
Good.
Good.
But they don't have to adhere to.
This is the one that rec pretty much pays for itself.
It's looking for.
I'm sure this has already been asked, and I'm just not wrapping my brain around it. Why can't items for the beach, it's still managed by the rec department, be put in the special revenue fund?
Because the beach is operated for the town and not for the rec program. So they're separate entities. So not all rec is together. So I mean, you have the town beach, which falls under the operating budget. You could have another entity take care of it, but you have the rec people take care of it. So the rec program is, I'm sorry, it's just too late for me to give you a good explanation.
No, it's fine. That's enough.
I don't think it's not like an after-school program where you would take in a fee and so forth. It was kept out as an operations. I'm sure Tasha could have a better
I
explanation
remember
for
the
you.
explanation. Well, I don't remember the explanation. Do we have any questions on rec?
I make a motion to move it forward.
Second.
Motion and seconded. All in favor? Unanimous. Look at revenues now, or do you want to start with that when we come on Wednesday?
Wednesday
I mean,
and Thursday. I won't be here Thursday, but I'm okay with that.
Do you have any input on donations or revenue, which is what we might be attacking that night? So that we can hear your opinions and
Don't at the moment. Can I send you an email?
I don't know the answer to that.
the what?
If I have any
Her thoughts. Can she send us an email?
donations.
Just
Send
put
him
us
one.
on speaker.
Yeah, Joe, I will send you an email if I have any. I'll look over them.
Do you want to know which ones did not show, or are you gonna watch the
It-
meeting for donations?
We haven't gotten the updated papers yet.
They update the sheet?
I don't think so.
No.
Of course not.
If you want to take a picture of my,
Yeah,
take a picture of my thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we probably have the same.
Yeah, I can do that.
So what was
Just the
approved?
front page.
Yeah.
Yeah, what
Yeah.
was not.
Okay.
I think that the, that's all.
Thank you.
I guess.
Excuse me, Steve.
Joe, a couple questions. Since we're asking questions for donations, the Steep Falls Cemetery, I had asked them about estimates for the fence.
Yeah,
If we could get formal estimates for the fence.
We got one.
I think
Did we?
you have one.
I gave it, I put it at your seat today.
Excellent, thank you.
$12,370.
And then the Old Red Church, I didn't see an expense or income sheet in their packet.
There wasn't one.
Can we ask them for one? I think they gave us one last year, but I don't remember for sure. Those were my only two questions for.
I think at the meeting, the guy,
He said we'd have to ask.
well,
her, right?
he wasn't the,
He
Yeah.
wasn't the
wasn't the
one who
person.
was gonna
Exactly. So
present.
yeah, I just don't remember her name.
Do,
he was a utility player.
Yeah.
yeah. Chet.
You, you want an estimate you wanted an estimate for what they planned.
Well, no, the quote for the fence from Steep Falls,
Yeah.
and then from the Old Red Church, how they spent the money last year and what they're planning on spending it on this year. Because I think was the Old Red Church the one who bought the house? Was that the
That was the
Historical Society?
Historical Society.
Society. Old Red Church didn't get any money, didn't request any money.
This was the, you saw this, right?
No. Oh, that must be my packet for today.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. That's not really an estimate, that's an email.
Well, that's what we got. That's what they sent us.
Anything else?
Can I make a motion to adjourn?
You can. All in favor? We're adjourned.
Shamit.